You know, artificial intelligence isn't science fiction anymore, right? It's literally all around us, making huge decisions in, well, everything from healthcare to finance. And that kind of power is incredible. It really is. But it also opens the door for some massive risks. So the big question is, how do we manage all that?
And yeah, that really is the heart of the matter. With great power comes, well, a lot of potential for things to go sideways. This power has to be managed. That's why we need frameworks, a playbook to handle these risks. And today, we're going to break down one of the most important ones out there, the AI Risk Management Framework from the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, you'll hear called NIST.
All right, so first things first, let's look at the two sides of this AI coin. Because on one side, you've got all this incredible promise, but on the other, some very, very real peril.
I mean, look at the benefits. AI systems give us unbelievable speed and efficiency we could only dream of before, and they can pull out these amazing insights that were just hidden in mountains of data. But, and this is a big but, if they're not managed well, they can also amplify biases that already exist, blow right through security protocols, and yeah, even make some truly catastrophic decisions. It's a real balancing act. So here's the solution, right? We absolutely need a structured way to manage these risks, to keep that scale in balance. And that, my friends, is exactly what the NIST AI Risk Management Framework is all about. It's basically the map we need to navigate this super complex territory. Okay, so how does this framework actually help us build that trust? Well, it starts by defining the goal. I mean, before you can even begin to manage risk, you have to agree on what a good AI system even looks like, right? So NIST breaks this down into a few core pillars.
It's a really simple question, but it's also incredibly profound. If we're going to let these systems into our daily lives, what should we be able to demand from them? What are the non-negotiables? Let's walk through them.
Okay, number one, first and foremost, it has to be valid and reliable. Plain and simple, it has to be accurate. I mean, think about it. If the information the AI spits out is just flat out wrong, then nothing else matters, does it? This is the bedrock, the absolute foundation.
Next up, the system has to be safe, secure, and resilient. Safe means it won't hurt people, damage property, or mess up the environment. And secure and resilient means it's got to be tough enough to stand up to bad actors. Because, let's be real, people are always going to try to break it, poison its data, or steal secrets from it.
This next one is a huge deal. It's the antidote to the whole black box problem. The AI has to be explainable and interpretable. We need to understand why it makes the decisions it does. And the goal here is brilliant. It shouldn't take a data scientist to get it. If it's a medical AI, a doctor, a domain expert needs to be able to look at the output and go, yep, I see how it got there. That makes sense.
And this one's a no-brainer, but it's crucial. It has to be privacy-preserving. The analogy here is perfect. If you told a friend the secret and they immediately bladge it to the whole world, you wouldn't trust them anymore, right? It's the exact same thing with AI. It can't be leaking your data all over the place. Your information has to be kept safe.
And it has to be fair. Absolutely, positively has to be fair. That means no bias for or against any specific group of people. And this actually ties right back to our very first point about being valid and reliable. Because think about it, if a system is biased, by definition, its information isn't accurate. It's flawed from the start.
And finally, we need accountability and transparency. Now, this is a little different from just being explainable. This is about the bigger picture. It means we know who's responsible when something breaks. It means the whole process, the data, the methods used to build it, it's all open for inspection. No more hiding behind the algorithm did it. We're talking clear ownership and total visibility.
So you take all of these pieces, validity, safety, explainability, privacy, fairness, and transparency, and you put them all together, what do you get? You get a system you can actually trust. You move from just having a powerful tool to having a trustworthy partner. That's the end game.
Okay, so we know what we're aiming for. We have our definition of trustworthy AI. The next logical question is, how do we actually get there? Well, the NIST framework gives us a process, and it's built on 4 core functions.
And here they are: govern, map, measure, and manage. Just think of this as the step-by-step roadmap that any organization can follow to build the kind of trustworthy AI we were just talking about.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts with govern. This is the foundation of the whole thing. It's all about creating the right culture for managing risk. It's called a cross-cutting function because the decisions you make here affect all the other steps. This isn't just about writing a policy manual, it's about weaving a risk-aware mindset into the very fabric of the organization, long before anyone even starts coding. All right, next up is map. And this is exactly what it sounds like. You're mapping out the territory. It's all about getting the context right. You get a full end-to-end view of the system. You clearly define what it's supposed to do. You figure out every single person involved, and you ask the tough question: how much risk are we actually willing to take on? Basically, the map function is what keeps you from flying completely blind.
Third, we have measure. Now, once you've mapped out the risks, you have to figure out how big they are. And there are kind of two ways to do this. You've got your quantitative approach. That's all about the numbers, trying to put a precise dollar value on a risk. Then you have the qualitative way, which is more about ratings, high, medium, low. The NIST framework is smart about this. It says a blend of both is usually the best bet, because just relying on numbers can sometimes give you this false sense of certainty.
And that brings us to the final function, manage. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where you take action. You look at all the risks you've mapped and measured, and you prioritize them. Then you decide what to do. Are you going to mitigate it, maybe by adding a new safety feature? Are you just going to accept it because the reward is worth it? Or maybe you transfer it. That's what insurance is for, after all.
But here's the real magic. These 4 functions, govern, map, measure, manage, they aren't a checklist you do once and then forget about. Not at all. They feed into each other, creating this awesome virtuous cycle. Every single time you go through the loop, you should be getting better, reducing risk, and making your AI just a little bit more trustworthy.
So, there you have it. That's the core of the framework. But you might be wondering, okay, that sounds great in theory, but how does this actually work in the real world? Well, that's where something called profiles come in. Think of a profile as a customized version of the framework. It's a specific implementation that's tailored for your exact situation. So whether you're building an AI for a hospital, a bank, or a factory, you create a profile that applies these core functions to your unique world. This is how the big general framework gets turned into a concrete, actionable plan.
And really, when you boil it all down, this is what it's about. This technology is incredibly powerful, it's exciting, and it's weaving its way into every single corner of our lives. And in a world like that, trust isn't just some nice-to-have feature. It's everything. The NIST framework is a tool that helps us earn that trust, not just in the AI itself, but in the choices we make about how to use it.
So, look, if you work with AI, or if you're just living in the world today, which means you're affected by it, you now know there's a tool out there to manage these risks. You have the map. The only question left is, what are you going to do with it?